두나무의 PDI 팀
Hello everyone,
김성경입니다.
I am Kim Seongyong from Dunamu's FDI team.
네, 저희의 PDI 팀은
So our FDI team does tasks related to FDS. We are addressing problems that arise from the blockchain market and the virtual assets market, and we try to address these issues using AI and data analytics. We are highly interested in that area, and most recently, we have developed a system called on-chain AI tracing system, which automatically tracks illicit funds on blockchain in a human-like manner. So we have developed this AI service, which is being used in Upbit. So I'm going to talk about this system today. This is the order of my presentation. I'm going to first talk about the current state of crimes involving virtual assets, and then I'm going to talk about on-chain AI tracer system, OTS. Then I'm going to share some actual tracking and damage prevention cases using the OTS, in short, what you can achieve using OTS. And then finally, I will conclude by sharing the current status of OTS. So first, let me talk about the current state of crimes involving virtual assets in Korea. In the graph shown on the left, over the past 4 years, the annual damage caused by illegal activities using virtual assets on average was about 1 trillion Korean won, resulting in significant damages every year. However, fortunately, as of 2021, many domestic institutions such as Upbit have put in a lot of efforts, contributing to a downward trend of such damages, but the problem is shown by the graph on the right. Over the past 4 years, the amount of criminal proceeds collected through confiscation was only 5% of the total damages, meaning recovery is really difficult. In this regard, how we respond after damages occur has become increasingly significant. These are some actual news coverage. They are not Upbit cases, but cases that occurred outside of Upbit. So first, there was a 100 billion Korean won worth of hacking case at Company A, and then the article says that there's at Exchange B, the full recovery of hacked virtual assets was not possible. Also, 400 billion won worth of Bitcoin was hacked from a specific exchange, according to this article, and in the case of something, there was a huge loss compared to its volume. Also, there was a number of small and large incidents suspected to be linked to North Korea that have been reported in the media. So, against this backdrop, what's most important is obviously preventing these hackings from happening in the first place. But as you saw from the news articles, once these assets are taken, the next important step is determining how to address them through tracking. And we are working on this by using OTS. So now allow me to talk about the on-chain AI tracer system, namely OTS in more detail. As I mentioned earlier, OTS determines like human, and it's an AI system that tracks illicit funds. Before OTS was developed, if any withdrawal-related damages occurred in Upbit, we relied on manual tracking of those funds. But with the increasing number of frauds and money laundering crimes using virtual assets, not just within but also outside of Upbit, the demand for such virtual asset tracking has grown. And if you try to trace this manually and you don't have much knowledge in the blockchain domain, it's quite a difficult task. Also, the process is highly susceptible to human errors as well. To overcome these issues, we have developed OTS, our on-chain fund tracking system. OTS currently operates as part of FDS within Upbit, as shown in the image on the left. If a withdrawal causes damage to a customer, OTS automatically tracks those stolen funds on-chain. During this process, we use the AI model to trace which wallet the illicit funds move to, in which here you can see the funds move to wallet B. And the graph on the left shows that the funds have moved to wallet B. From there, the system tracks down which wallet is involved in the criminal activity, leveraging AI. And once crime-related wallet is identified through tracking, the wallet is registered to the Upbits database to be monitored automatically, and it's also reflected in FDS. So FDS prevents the funds flowing from and to these flagged wallets, preventing secondary damages. The OTS has the following key traits. It utilizes machine learning and algorithms to quickly and accurately trace transactions related to stolen funds, and the tracked results are provided in graph and text formats for analysis. Also, it also addresses money laundering involving smart contracts by tracing the laundered funds. In the case of hacking incidents, perpetrators usually swap or cross-chain transfer through smart contracts to cash out the illicit funds. And OTS during automatic tracing, such smart contract funds are tracked as well. And lastly, the system provides a notification feature through its real-time monitoring feature. Once tracking is completed for a case, any additional transactions are notified to the users. And other illicit funds arising from crimes such as hackings, as well as money laundering, are continuously monitored as well. So these are the traits and features of OTS. And let me show you how it actually works and is displayed on screen. So first, I will explain the main page, which is the main feature of OTS, the automatic tracing feature. The auto tracing feature tracks the flow of funds from the initial transaction ID to the exchange to hot wallet and the individual wallet, automatically tracking the transactions most likely to be involved in the fund flow. On the left, you can see the image where an automatic request is made to OTS regarding a transaction ID. After making this automatic request, if you click on View Results, as shown on the right, the system displays how the illicit funds were tracked and the results are shown automatically. And in that process, to make this automatic tracking request in OTS, all we need is the initial transaction ID where the illicit funds first appeared. That is enough information for OTS to trace the funds movement, showing which wallet was used to transfer the funds, and all of this is automatically displayed in the results. To explain a bit further about this, the from address of the initial transaction ID is highlighted in red on OTS, and while the fund is traced, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there's a swapping process. Swapping typically occurs through a service or contract wallets, so these wallets are separately highlighted in blue. So swaps are tracked automatically, and at the end of the day, the illicit funds end up in the blue wallets. In this process, you can see that the edge colors of the graph changes. And the edge color in OTS represents a chain. So what that means is that there's been a change of chains, indicating a cross-chain swap has occurred, which is shown in the graph. So far, I've shared the auto tracing feature and its results. Next, I'll explain the monitoring function, which I've mentioned earlier, that tracks any additional transactions. On the screen shown here, if you turn on the monitoring function, you will see the monitoring on sign. And the occurrence of subsequent transactions will be traced continuously and notified automatically. That's what that sign means. As I mentioned earlier, if an additional transaction is identified, it will be notified to the user. The next feature allows you to view the transaction details of individual addresses and perform additional tracking. On the left, you can see an image where the in-out transaction was viewed for a specific wallet within a graph. If you look closely, there are areas highlighted in blue. So for these in-out transactions, the AI recommended transactions are highlighted in blue.
버튼을 통해서 모델 추천에 영향을 준 피처,
By clicking the
그리고
View
해당 기술
Details
추천
button,
기술도
you can check the
정보
features that
전달도
influence the
프로그램
model's
정보를
recommendation,
통해서
as well as the
사용해서
recommendation
볼 수가 있습니다.
scores, as shown on the right
저희가
side of
근데
the screen.
저렇게 이
As
트랜잭션을
to
왜
why
추천했냐 그런 것들을 정보를
certain
제공하려고
transactions were recommended and the
OTS는
reason why we provide this piece of information, we'd have to go back to the main feature of OTS, which is automatic tracing. Since OTS is an automatic tracing system, most tasks are done automatically. So the user may not know why certain things are tracked and why certain things are not tracked. It may not be easy to clearly understand the rationale, but through something called SHAP-image to help understand AI models, why a certain transaction was or was not recommended are represented in red and blue. To go into more detail, the red scaled areas or features represent why this transaction is recommended, whereas the blue scaled areas show why this transaction should not be recommended. So let me move on and talk about the results of OTS tracking and cases of how damages were prevented. The first case was where a withdrawal incurred a damage. It happened on Upbit, and OTS automatically tracked the stolen funds to prevent secondary damage. It was on June 2023, about 70 million Korean won worth of Dogecoin was taken in a withdrawal, and OTS automatically tracked this incident. And of the tracked wallets, the one belonging to the Upbit user was found, which was then registered in the monitoring list automatically. Later, when a deposit was attempted to that user, because that user's wallet was already flagged, the deposit was not approved. Upon further investigation, we were able to identify that this user was actually involved in a phishing scam, and through such tracking, we were able to prevent additional phishing scams from happening. The image on the left shows the initial transaction ID, which was automatically traced. Starting from the wallet marked in red to the ones marked in blue, you can see how much of the funds moved from and to which wallet. Next, there was another withdrawal-related case in Upbit, and I'll share how, once again, it was automatically tracked to prevent further damage to a customer. This victim met a foreigner through social media who persuaded the victim to make a withdrawal. The victim actually attempted multiple withdrawals from Upbit, and during one of those attempts, the victim was notified by the Upbit customer service team that this was a suspicious transaction, which led the victim to suspect a scam. Afterward, the victim reported the incident to Upbit, upon which OTS detected and automatically identified the crime-related wallet. The flagged wallet was automatically added to the monitoring list. Later, a withdrawal of about 30 million Korean won was attempted from this wallet, but fortunately, because this wallet was already registered, the withdrawal was rejected through FDS. So here we were able to prevent the secondary damage in this example that I've just explained. On the left, the from address of the initial transaction where the crime occurred is highlighted in red, and the results are shown as well. The two cases that I've shared involved withdrawal-related damages that occurred on Upbit, and how the stolen funds were tracked by OTS and how the results influenced FDS to prevent secondary damage. The next case I'm going to share, the next three cases I'm going to share happened outside of Upbit. It was a huge hacking incident which was traced automatically using OTS. In January 2024, 5 tokens were hacked and stolen. The tracking results by OTS is shown in the left image. The funds were stolen from a specific wallet and then was swapped to Ethereum and DAI, which was verified through the OTS results. And on January 25th, the swapped assets were distributed to multiple wallets, where they were remained for several months without movement. Then on June 10th, some of the fund was laundered to Tornado Cash as monitored by OTS. The money laundering through Tornado Cash resulted in numerous transactions, and such transactions were tracked and shown through the tracking results. Similarly, there is another large-scale hacking case that occurred externally, and the tracking results of OTS is shown. It was a major Bitcoin hacking incident, and the stolen Bitcoins were traced by OTS as shown on the left image. The initial thief divided the stolen funds into 500 Bitcoins and moved them to 9 wallets, which was detected by OTS. This image shows just a small portion of the extensive theft process. This hacking case involved many laundering transactions, so only a part is displayed here. So keep that in mind when you look at this image. The funds were kept without withdrawals for weeks, but then were detected when they were transferred through the monitoring function of OTS in real time. The funds went through a very complex series of transfer, and most of them were deposited into mixing sites, which was also verified through OTS. The last case happened on July 2024, and it involved 8 different coins. And of these coins stolen, the Shiba Inu coins were tracked by OTS, and the results are shown on the left. The stolen funds were all swapped to Ethereums, and on July 18th, these swapped Ethereums were stored in a specific wallet and held there. Then on September 12th, the funds, which were not moved for several weeks, similar to the previous case, was laundered to Tornado Cash. And that process is similar to the first case and is shown on the image below. So I've shared 3 cases with you so far, and the commonality of these 3 cases would be that the criminal funds were moved and stored in a specific wallet for weeks and months, and then it was laundered to Tornado Cash. And in fact, according to news articles or according to blockchain companies, these 3 hacking cases are all suspected to be the work of a North Korean hacking group. Through OTS, we were able to track how these illicit funds were laundered. Finally, I'll share the current status of OTS. We've finished filing technology patents related to OTS, and OTS is used as an internal platform at Upbit to prevent secondary damages through FTS, and OTS has been introduced at cybercrime or AI academic symposiums. So this was an explanation of OTS, but we're not only using OTS, but also AI FTS to address various issues that arise on blockchain. Through these efforts, we aim to protect the assets of Upbit customers as well as the assets of blockchain users. Thank you.